Okay, I'm going to make a short video to show you how to figure out the spacing for your cells in this animation strip. This one is longer. I'm going to do this for a smaller one, maybe like more like the size you're going to be using with this Zoetrope device. These slots are a little bit wide, but it'll still work. So remember, these slots should be 1/8 of an inch wide by 1.5 down. And then this is like, so it's 3 inches total, 1.5, 1.5. So your animation strips are going to be 1.5 inches tall. With regular sketchbook paper, to go all the way around, you're going to have to splice it. So if you cut two 1.5 inches, overlap it a little bit, and if I line this up with my cutting mat, like there, line this up on the bottom of the cutting mat here, and then line this up just on one of these lines here. You can do this with anything that has a straight edge. So you could use another piece, like a bigger piece of paper, a sketchbook. I want to overlap it a little bit just to make sure I have enough. Line up the bottom there. Make sure that's close enough, and then I'll tape this on both sides. Should be good. You can use drafting tape, scotch tape, whatever. So then you take this and put it inside. Whoops. Make sure you can see. And then what you want to do is get it as tight as you can around the inside of there. And then you take a pencil, mark where they overlap. And that is the length from here to here. And so that I can measure that. Move my mat off of here. 0. Okay, so 12 is there. And then 6 1/4. So I'm 18 1/4. So that's smaller than the other ones I've done, and that should be okay. That's just whatever the measurement is, that's 18 1/4. Then you want to figure out how many animation cells you have. 18.25. If you're doing it on a calculator, I would just make it as close to a decimal point of 0.25 is 1/4, 0.5 is 1/2, 0.75 is 3/4. 18.25 divided by 12. 1.52, so close to 1.5 inches. So it's a little more than 1.5 inches would be the division of 12. So it's 12 cells. So I'm going to do this. You need to come close. So if it's 1.52, that's you don't have that on this. So 1.5. I'm just going to do like a mark just to the right of the line for 1.5. And sometimes the way you got to do this is you just figure out, you try this. Pardon me. And slow down and do this. I don't know for sure exactly how this lasts, like the last cell, like when I get to the end and I get to the last one, I'll find out how accurate this is. But you know, sometimes just the width of that pencil mark, when you do it, you know, when you make a, like I'm going to make 11 marks there for 12 spaces, that pencil mark takes up just a little bit of space, and if you add 11 of them, you add a fraction of, oops, that's, and don't make that mistake. I just put a mark at 1, X that out. So I'm just going to make marks at 1.5, and then with my pencil just to the right of the 1.5 mark. 1.5 mark. X you out. Make sure you tell the difference between your new marks and the old ones. There. There. Oh my God, it's perfect. Oh, brilliant. So like this, this was made by a student some time ago, and the student left it behind. The circle here of this foam board was traced off of something like a plate or something, or maybe traced off of a coffee can lid. But you know, it worked out well that I got 18 1/4. Write that in ink. And I have 1.5 inch cells. There. So now that I have this, I can make the divisions clearer. Do this in pencil. Don't do it in ink. But if I put this down again on my cutting mat so that it's just on one of these horizontal grid lines, it helps me to align my straight edge, because I'm just doing one, I just have one mark, so it's easy to think you got it right and draw a slight diagonal, but using the grid of the cutting mat helps me keep that straight. There, don't shift it off the line. Okay. So you just be careful, you know, if you do this carefully for the first one, then you can, I mean, you could just like tape 2 more strips here. I want you to do 3 animation strips. So you just like tape 2 more pieces of paper down and then just follow the same lines for the vertical divisions of the cells. Okay, there. So now I have all these divisions like this. This one I made them a little bit smaller. I wanted to get, if you have a bigger, the other, this is for the one that I made that has the white wall, like slotted wall on it. That was just made from a bigger have from a bigger initial circle. So the you can see some of these even are a little bit angled. But these are a little smaller, and there are more of them because I had a bigger zoetrope. This is for the smaller zoetrope. So now you would draw your animation in each of these, and if you wanted to reproduce this one with that circle getting bigger and smaller, you want to keep the circle in the same spot in every cell. You'll need to find center. So finding the center of any rectangle is quite simple. Put a straight edge down here and on each of the opposite corners, and you draw that, cross that diagonal, and there's your middle. You don't need to know the dimensions of the square or the rectangle. I'm just going to mark the center so I know that that's where I'm putting my circle. I suppose I can just be more efficient and do all of the diagonal one way. And if you plan this out and you're careful, it won't necessarily take you a ton of time. But you really shouldn't worry too much about how long something is taking you. Things take as long as they need to take sometimes. And when you're new to doing something, it takes you longer because you don't have any experience, and you have to figure out, you even just have to, doing something for the first time. It takes, going slowly to make sure that you're doing it right. And then the more you do this, let's see why I did it like that. Thought that would work, but I just need to do my opposite. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to have to pick up this tape here because I've got the tape on where I probably need to do some drawing. All right, so then to make sure that, so like here, the beginning, so the way this works in this as a cycle, the beginning and the end, like if this starts, so it has to start and begin at about the same space, the same spot, so it can look like it just, when it turns round and round, it just looks like it keeps going. I'm going to leave that first one blank. Make them bigger. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. 6. So the middle of it is right here. So this will be like, I'm going to make this seem to get bigger. And then here we're going to start getting smaller again. I don't have a lot of time to make a complicated animation. If you try to do too much, if you try to add too much detail, it really won't be visible. So this right here, and then I will test it. Put this around in here, like that. Make sure it's tight. And if you're trying to do this for presentation, then I would like maybe put a little drafting dot behind it, or a little drafting tape. But usually if you just push it all the way out, there's a tension will hold it in there. And so that fits all the way. And let's see. That's all right. So that's good. I think what I would do is exaggerate. I mean, they need to be bigger. Okay, I know I can see that I can make more of a difference. And again, if you look inside and you see it turning, you don't really see anything happening, but then when you look through the slots, you see the animation. That's how it works. All right. So that's how you'll do that. And you know, I think with that animation, I would make more. To make sure that it's really clear, I think from the smallest to the biggest, I can make this larger, but gradually bigger. I was being careful, but I didn't need to be quite that careful. Okay.